Hi all. These are generally conversations between adults after the children have left the table. The language can be spicy and the subjects can get saucy. So if you're ready, this is the Southern Fork. Unscripted kitchen chats and also studio chats with some of the most interesting voices in the culinary South. I'm Stephanie Burt, a food and beverage writer who travels with her fork to write for a variety of publications, from magazines you might have on your coffee table to the website you love to visit for your favorite recipes. And I'm inviting you to come behind the scenes with me to get to know the people who make this Southern culinary landscape so special. I'm always hungry for the next bite, thirsty for that next sip, and ready for the next conversation. Let's dig in. The South can be a messy place, and that's not just because we love to cover our food and gravy. If you're interested in looking beyond the headlines to dig through the deep history of this region, I've got a podcast for you. It's called The Broadside, and it's produced by my friends at WUNC, North Carolina Public Radio. Hosted by award-winning podcast producer Anissa Khalifa, The Broadside explores news, history, and pop culture stories rooted in the American South. Each week, the show explores a single topic impacting the region, and along the way, they zoom out and explain how it reverberates across the country. From the rapid spread of dollar stores and their impact on sustainable food access, to how the word y'all has quietly conquered the English-speaking world. The Broadside is your source for Southern news and culture stories, which might not be on the front page, but definitely deserve a deeper look. So go ahead, follow and listen to new episodes of The Broadside every week, wherever you get your podcasts. Charleston Wine Food is a multi-day wine and food festival that takes place the first full weekend each March in Charleston, South Carolina. And I've covered it as a media person and or participated as talent for all of its going on 18 years excepting one. The following interview took place live in the midst of the Culinary Village at this year's festival, and I'm sharing it now because I already have the 2024 event on the brain. Not only is my behind-the-scenes planning well underway, but tickets go on sale to the public on October 19th. I lovingly call it my Super Bowl because it is, and the connections and education from it seeds much of the work I do. One of those relationships is with my conversation partner here, Alyssa Maute Smith, the festival's executive director. Alyssa, a native Charlestonian, stepped into the interim role in April of 2022, having successfully served as the festival's marketing and communications director for 6 years. Then, in 2023, was officially granted the title. There's no mistaking the energy of Charleston Wine Food, and Alyssa's enthusiasm for the work and for this community she calls home is a good compass for its future. And I'm very proud to call her my friend. Well, it's taken me 8 years to say this, but welcome to the Southern Fork, Alyssa.
I've made it.
You finally made it. I mean, you worked it to try to get on this show. I had to end up being festival director to make it work.
Yeah, not even just being a friend got me on the show, huh?
Well, I'm so glad to have you on the show in the middle of the Culinary Village live from Charleston Wine Food. I had a question. Who else would be more perfect to interview than the new executive director in the middle of Sunday at the festival?
I don't know how I got so lucky.
Well, it doesn't help that it happens to be one of the most beautiful days in the history of the world. You've had a great weather weekend, and we're here on Local Sunday. We're on the Cooper River. I had to think about what river we were on for a second. And we're sitting here in the Pod Cafe. I've walked around. I've enjoyed sips. I had a new non-alcoholic beverage that I really liked. I had a black bean burger from Verde.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's been pretty
delicious.
good. And, of course, I helped Kevin Mitchell and Tia Clark throw down on the demo stage. But I'd love to chat with you a little bit about the festival. One, why you love it, but also just some of the logistics that go into this and some of the things that are really important to you when it comes to taking care of this festival, taking care of the people that work it, and also the guests. So as we're sitting in the Culinary Village and you're seeing it live after seeing it in your head, because you tweaked a lot of things this year, what are you most happy about?
Well, first of all, I got to say, I don't know how they put the two sappy souls on the Sunday, the last day of the festival. So I'm going to try really hard not to get emotional, but I'm so proud. I'm so proud of my team. I'm so proud of this community. This community loves this festival. And when I look around and I see local chefs and bartenders and somms and farmers and fishermen out there having a great time, that's why we do this, is that ability to connect other people, to spend time with one another. And I really think food and bev people are the best people.
We know they are the best people, no doubt. So I've noticed this year people seem just a little calmer. It seems like people are milling about. How did you reimagine the space so you give the crowd flow? That's something that you don't think about when you're part of the crowd, right? You just flow. But how did you reconsider crowd flow here?
Well, after COVID, things changed a lot. You know, the way that people thought about gathering changed. The way we interacted with other humans changed. And if you're going to spend what I see as your most valuable resource, your time, you want to spend it doing something that feels good and that you love. And you want to have fun. So that's the premise really of where we first started with reimagining this event, was how can we create pockets of places where we can play? Because adults play too. They do.
Sure do. I saw some people playing Jenga and cornhole.
And just having fun and letting loose. So we designed the park to pull you in to whatever it was that we were trying to get you to experience, whatever story we were trying to tell you, and find more moments of intimate connection that you could have with other people. And I mean, it's
happening.
It's happening. There's 6,000 people at the Culinary Village right now, and intimate is a word that I would describe it.
It is. People feel like they're flowing in and out. There's just a little more air, right? It doesn't feel like I'm a sardine fighting for something. And that's a great way to be. So I know from a journalist perspective that a lot of people consider Charleston Wine and Food, when they aren't attendees, they consider this the only thing that is the Culinary Village, the only thing that happens with the festival.
Yes.
And that couldn't be further from the truth. We're not talking adjacent events, just official events. How many events did you put on this year?
By the time we close tonight at the Cigar Factory, we've produced 112 events, and this is just one of them. The Culinary Village is just one of them.
It's just counted as one. It doesn't even get a double?
It doesn't even get a triple for all 3 days. It's just one.
Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing. And that doesn't include some of the stuff we've done kind of behind the scenes. So this year, I was so excited that Ann and Scott from Highwire Distilling said yes to hosting our Talent Hospitality Hub. We wanted to carve out a little niche for F&B professionals. We hear time and time again that the reason they participate in this festival is because they want to be with their friends.
Right.
They want to hang with their friends.
And that's something we've heard time and time again. What people don't realize, and we know outside of the business, it's really difficult to understand that you have friends that you've worked with and you never hardly see them.
No.
So festivals are a time for the talent to get together. And also connections to be made.
Yes.
New creativity, new inspiration.
Yes.
And just really that real sense of community. I have to ask, it's a little prickly, but there has been some discussion through the years, some in print, about the talent here and how the talent has been taken care of or not taken care of. Charleston Wine and Food Festival has been around for 17 years.
That's right.
And so they've really been part of this changing tide. And we're really in a revolution right now in the culinary industry. How did you take care of talent better this year? Because obviously you had to respond to that.
Yes, we did. We wanted to be at the forefront of what that model looked like so that we set the example in the wine and food space for how you support your community. And they are our community. That is what breathes life into this festival. So this year we put forth a stipending program. So every single chef and beverage station throughout the entire festival has stipends behind it, to where we give the money directly to that chef to execute what it is that they're executing. On top of that, we put forth a foodie program. We wanted more local food, more local purveyors, farmers to be involved in this festival and showcased. They can't compete with these big guys. So we put forth a foodie program to where they could offer really anything that they felt like was of value. Some of them did, hey, if you order from us during Wine and Food Weekend, we'll give you 10% off their order as a way to get business. So they're not having to donate, but that they're still incentivizing the talent to use their product. And so that, coupled with the stipend, allows us to say, hey, we want you to use your stipend we're giving you with local farmers and purveyors.
Right.
So that was a way that we're not only able to support our talent, but achieve that goal of getting more local food involved in the organization.
I saw a crazy line for some local French fries today.
Oh, yeah. And the fish and the seafood. I truly believe the reason that the food here is that good is because we're catching it right there.
Right
there.
Yeah,
and then it's making it to your plate.
So I think people wonder, it's such an interesting job that you have, an executive director, but it's really hard right now, and it was really hard for the past month, but there's a lot of planning. I'd love to know how you got into the event production, the culinary event production business, and what about it really inspired you, because you've been on a long journey and you're a local gal.
I am. James Island represent. J.I. That's what we say. I've got one of my J.I. guys over there slinging oysters, Brown Oyster Supply. Terrell Brown went to school with me and my husband. And I first got into events, it's probably been 15 years at this point, and I loved the excitement and the energy around people gathering. I love people. I love to hear people's stories. I'm inquisitive. I want to know all about you, where you came from, what you like to eat, what your grandmother used to cook. And I think that inquisitiveness and that willing to build relationships and connect, I saw that events were like that in a vortex. You got all of that and it sped up time. And in a matter of a couple of hours, the relationship that you can form with another person feels like I've known you for a whole year.
Right. Absolutely.
I've never experienced anything else like that does it that quickly as a live event.
I've been asking a lot of people this weekend. Why is food important beyond the plate? There's something kind of magical about it.
It is.
Why do you think food is important? That's a really big question.
That's a big one. Obviously everybody has to eat, but food to me has history to it.
It's connecting identity, right?
It's who you are as a person. And when I think about food, the first thing that comes to mind are all the memories that I have that are centered around food. Yeah. My grandmother cooking at holiday gatherings, going out as, a young girl on the boat with my dad and catching blue crab that we then came home to clean in the backyard. And food was always there, but it's the memories that were created around the food that are so impactful. Growing up here in the Low Country especially, I feel like food is a way of life. It is a way of life. It is the way that we play. It is the way that we
kiss and hug our family.
Yes. And relate to other people.
Yes, it is the way we relate to other people. And, this is such a massive undertaking, developing intimate relationships or intimate opportunities for relationships are really your job.
Yes.
But inviting people to jump at that opportunity is another thing. So what makes a good Charleston Wine and Food Festival visitor, guest, patron? Not talent, but what's your favorite kind of guest?
I think my favorite kind of guest is someone that's adventurous, someone that is willing to get out of their comfort zone. I think that's another thing that food pushes you to do is get out of your comfort zone. And someone who has an opened mind. I feel like this is something I was just having a conversation with yesterday about just being a kind human and though willing to remember that we're people first and make people feel like they belong. And there's a difference between being included and feeling like you belong.
Right.
And I want people to feel like they belong when they come to one of our events. And that's not something that you just can do with one thing. It's a multitude of these tiny little touch points that say, not only are you invited, but you're here because we want you here. And that's the kind of guests that I love to see here. The ones that are inquisitive and asking the chefs about, where did you learn to cook? Where can I get your food again? Because that's the whole point of it, right? We want them to fall in love, and then we want them to go back and frequent that business. This is a little tidbit, little local tidbit here of you vote with your dollar, and spending your money locally is so important and impactful, and that's how we preserve this community that we've all built.
Right, exactly. Well, can you name a favorite bite this festival?
Gosh.
How about a favorite couple bites?
There's so many. I actually was just on the demo stage with Anthony Marini.
So you're going to talk about your own crab cake?
No, he was handing out his Italian sandwiches. Have you had his Italian boy?
No.
Oh my God. It is phenomenal. That was everything I needed in that moment too, was carbs. I wanted all the bread.
All the bread.
All the bread.
Tia and Kevin made such amazing vermilion snapper on our thing today. And they were passing out samples, and I was like, I need to eat. This is really good. We tasted it, so that one wasn't going to be handed out for samples. And I was like, well, I'm not going to let that go because that was amazing food. So it's about amazing food, amazing drink, and amazing people, and mixing in amazing music into that as well.
It tells the story. I've got one other bite I have to tell you. This is probably the most delicious thing I've tasted in all of the festivals I've been to. And part of it goes with the story of that love language. It wasn't just at a sampling station at an event. So I went to World of Q at Firefly, our big barbecue event. And Christine Lau was there. She was hanging out with Schwai and Corey over at their table. They had their barbecue pop-up there. And she had snuck away some of her seafood fritters that she had earlier at the fish fry. And she snuck them away to bring them so Corey and Schwai could taste them because they weren't there. And it had this Asian dipping sauce. She snuck one out. She pulls it out of this plastic bag, and she's like, hey, wait, I snuck some things away. I wanted my friends to get to taste them. And I was like, oh, I get to taste one of these? And she said, yes. She's like, you got to dunk it really good in the sauce. That thing, oh my God. It was absolutely perfect. It was perfect. It was crispy. It was delicious.
Yeah, and I love that. This is the thing. People aren't phoning it in. They're making something they're so proud of that they want their friends to taste it. They're not like, here, we're going to give out these portions and we don't care. People bring it. I remember when I first got into this world and I would see chefs like with bathtubs full of oysters in their hotel room, or they would bring hams on carry-on, and stuff like that they cured for 36 months, beforehand. So there is so much commitment. And with the music really adds that extra level of a fun event, right? A party. Yeah.
There's places for you to have a good time on the dance floor. Music is art. Food is art. Food is art. Chefs are artists. Beverage professionals are too. The way that you put together a cocktail, it's an art. Not everybody can do that, but everybody eats and drinks. It's a really interesting phenomenon. And so that combination of food and beverage with music, I feel, is something that just fills your soul in a way that other things can't.
That's true. It's been a pretty damn good year here, Alyssa.
It has been.
So what is making you hungry? What are you going to do next?
What's making me
hungry?
I'm always hungry for more. I always am pushing the boundaries, thinking of the next thing, the next vision. I'm a perfectionist for sure. This year was a great year. There's still some things I want to tweak, and we've got some more stuff to show for Charleston Wine and Food for next year.
Excellent. Well, I'm so grateful to sit down with you, who was somebody I admire, and I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you. I love this community. I love our friendship.
Me too.
I love your show, and I feel like this is a testament to our relationship, is a testament to falling in love through food.
That is true. Thank you. Well, if you out there want to learn more about 315 other people who have fallen in love with food, I've got that many of them in the archives. You can go to thesouthernfork.com. Also, if you want to learn more about Charleston Wine and Food, you actually need to sign up for the newsletter so that you know when tickets go on sale. I think things sold out in 5 minutes this year, one of those 112 events. Go to thesouthernfork.com. I'll have links there, images of my beautiful Alyssa, and thank you so much for coming to talk to me on Sunday at Charleston Wine and Food.
I'm just so excited that I finally made it on the Southern Fork.
Well, it took a while. You had to get famous.
Oh my gosh. I love you.
Love you. Hello and welcome to Talking with My Mouth Full. I have known Alyssa since we first met over really in the back room of a barbecue restaurant, in the middle of watching the process of someone make barbecue hash. Now, this is way, way back. This is before I had the podcast and I was working on an article on hash for Food Republic. And it was before Alyssa was even at the festival at all. And she was helping do public relations for a client. She had her own PR agency. So that is how we originally first met. And if you know anything about hash, I think it's pretty funny. It's a very, very specific South Carolina thing. And it's not the prettiest process. We're talking, I definitely saw a pig head that day. There's all kind of pieces and parts of the pig that a lot of us that are used to shopping at big box grocery stores are not used to seeing. And of course, a lot of vegetables and other things. But that's where Alyssa and I first met, like right on the front lines of food production. Even though neither one of us were making that food, we were right there, kind of in the trenches with it. So, it has me feeling a little nostalgic because I, of course, am very, very proud of her rise to executive director of the festival. But I'm also just really feeling nostalgic because I only have one more week of this podcast with you for season 8 of the Southern Fork. And, man, I have clocked some miles this season. The Southern Fork Summer Residencies was so much fun, and I loved bringing all of those very specific stories to you. But if you got my newsletter, and I really hope that you're signed up, you can find a link to sign up on thesouthernfork.com. But my newsletter today, I mentioned that moving forward, the Southern Fork's seasonality is going to really reflect, its natural personality. And that really is very focused on going out and about and traveling. So as you get into the kitchen to begin celebrating all of those winter holidays, this podcast will go into planning mode. And I am already really, really excited about 2024. I have lots to share with you in the coming months and really some big things. So I am excited about that, but that's really all I can say. So for now, there is one episode coming up left in season 8, and it's always one of my favorites. It's the roundup, the best of me by myself on the mic for the last episode of the season, kind of giving you some thoughts and looking back at some of my favorite and your favorite episodes. So I hope you'll make sure and join me for that episode next week. But in the meantime, thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to The Southern Fork. I can't wait to bring you more culinary conversations, but in the meantime, I have one question. Are you gonna eat all that?